Well, sisters and brothers, forgive me for stating the obvious, but we live in a digital age. I mean, certainly we already knew this, but the coming of this pandemic just really pushed an accelerator on it, right? It's hard to imagine that most of us had never heard the word Zoom before just a year ago. It seems like increasingly more and more of our lives is online. It's behind a screen. And there are some incredible things that come from it. Right now, there are sisters and brothers who are not able to be with us physically in this room, but they are with us in spirit and in prayer. It can connect us with people all around the world. The internet can connect remote villages that do not have access to libraries or universities, but at a fingertip with simply an iPad and an internet connection, all of the world's information is ready for them. But also, it comes with its own challenges, doesn't it? We see students spending time behind a screen. Not too long ago, we were telling parents to reduce the amount of screen time for their kids. And now, everything is behind a screen. And with that comes some unique challenges. It's not new, but it is certainly exaggerated. The challenge that I'm talking about is one of deception. You know, I saw students are really clever and ingenious at coming up with ways to not have to do their homework or not have to pay attention in class. And it didn't take long before people figured out that they could, in a Zoom meeting with all of the class, upload a little video clip that made it look like they were paying perfect attention and taking notes. And they could be off playing video games, doing whatever. But to the teacher, it looks like they're there. It's amazing with technology we can become so close, but yet also so disconnected from reality. We can't trust our eyes or our ears. Technology has now made it possible to make people say things that they never even said and make it look like they did. So easy to deceive. I don't know, this might be for a younger crowd, but if you ever heard of, there's a phenomenon in the dating world known as catfishing. Not too many laughters, so I'll tell you what catfishing is. So catfishing, as I understand it, is you meet somebody on a virtual space with the intention of getting to know each other and dating, but you put forward someone who is not you. Maybe you find a picture from some model that you found on the internet. You write a biography that does not adequately describe your actual life. And you present a totally different person to someone. You catfished them. You made them think they were catching one thing, but they were catching something else. And this is a pretty common phenomenon. And I wonder, why would you do that? I mean, after all, we can see right away the obvious problems, right? I mean, the most obvious being when you finally meet each other, you're going to have some explaining to do. They're expecting to meet one person and they meet another. It's impossible to establish a real connection with somebody on a lie. For a moment, you may feel connected. You may feel like this person loves me, but deep down inside, you know in your heart that they do not, because you never shared who you were. You see, when we put on a face or a mask, when we seek to deceive, oftentimes we do so with the hope of catching the affection of someone else. It's a desperate attempt to try and find love, to try and find connection and intimacy. But you've sabotaged yourself from the very start. First off, you can never be sure that the person loves you because you've never shown them who you are. But secondly, and probably most sad of all, is that you've condemned yourself from the very start. You decided that you're not worth sharing. You decided that no one could actually love the real me. If they really knew me, they would turn away from me. So it starts with a lie to yourself. And it cuts you off from the ability of actually finding genuine intimacy and love. Or if there are places in your life that need correcting, if all you do is hide them and lock them away, they will never be changed. It's like someone who puts off going to the doctor for years thinking it will just go away, and the growth just keeps getting bigger. Eventually you have to go and open yourself up. Say, here I am. My strengths and my weaknesses, my health, my infirmity. This is me. Jesus in the gospel today says that all will be revealed. There is nothing hidden that will not come to light. Live in the light. Now that can seem like a scary prospect. After all, he's talking about the final judgment. That moment in which all of our good deeds and all of our misdeeds will be laid bare. But for those who have lived openly with God, they will shine with the splendor of what God has done in their life through his healing. See, we cannot love God if we hide from him. And God cannot change and heal us if we do not open up to him. We do not need to catfish God. We do not need to hide away. In fact, when we do so, we are the ones who condemn ourselves. We say, God could not love me. God could not forgive me. God cannot heal me. This thing, it has plagued me all my life. There is no way I could ever be released from it. And so we condemn ourselves and we judge God as incapable. Sisters and brothers, while it is difficult to be open and to be honest and to lay ourselves bare before God, it is a tremendous act of faith, of love and hope, that God can indeed still love me. And God can free me of those things that I have been holding on to and trying to hide away. God can make me glorious, resplendent. You know, I often think of what it will be like in heaven. And I think of, you ever see athletes or maybe old soldiers, and many years down the road, they begin to share their war stories or they show their battle scars. You know, this is the time I broke my leg doing this, or this is the time where I broke my hand, or this is the scar that I got from this. Imagine how traumatic those experiences were in the moment. But through time and through healing, they become great examples of what we have gone through. The strength that we had to endure it, and the persistence to come through on the other side. And I imagine for those who have laid bare their hearts to God and received and striven throughout their lives to be healed, we will be standing in the hallways of heaven, showing our scars to one another. Look at what God healed. I had this mortal wound, and God gave me new life. Praise be to God for what he has done. And we will not look at one another with shame for what we have done. We will not look at each other with judgment or scorn, but rather when we look into the eyes of others and see the hurts that they once held, we will see the great power of God to bring them through it. Now they will be able to sing and forever praise the great glory of who God is, because they have been through the darkness. They have been through the hurts in the wounds of everyday life. And God gave them a greater strength of perseverance. Imagine all of those saints in heaven showing those scars like radiant constellations of what God can do in this world. Sisters and brothers, all indeed will come to light. There is no need to hide from God or indeed from ourselves. God has the power to heal and to bring forth new life. So let us come before this altar once more, where we receive the greatest sign of God's healing, where he took the scars of the cross and brought forth the promise of eternal life. And let us ask the grace of God to lay our hearts bare and receive that healing once more.